This custom Hulk statue is the most expensive quarter scale statue I have ever bought. With that being said, I also can't tell you how much I paid because I honestly don't know. Mr. X, that doesn't make any sense. Well, neither does pissing away all my money on these collectibles. As the Extreme channel is pushing towards 50,000 subscribers, these are just a few of the statues we're giving away on the journey there. If you want to know how to win one, stay tuned for later in the video. Hey, welcome to the Extreme channel. We're all about extreme collectibles, and I have one of the most extreme collectibles I've ever had on this table for so many different reasons. This is a custom, which means it was a private unlicensed commission, quarter scale Hulk statue. Quarter scale, Cody, 4 times larger in real life. So as I said in the intro, I can't tell you how much I paid for this, but I know for a fact it was my most expensive. I'll get to that later in the review when we talk about value. And as you can see, this thing is huge. It's really, really big. And I'm going to limit myself to that's what she said joke that I have here. Although I'm sure it would be applicable quite a few times. Now, if you don't like how big this is, then there are some other options. We're going to talk about that in the review today as well. But this was a highly anticipated piece that I pre-ordered about 3 years ago, and it is finally here. It's finally done. It's finally painted because it didn't come painted. We'll talk more about that. But as you can see, it is the Incredible Hulk, sculpted by one of my favorite sculptors, and this piece is just amazing on so many different levels. Now, is it the best Hulk statue? I don't know. There's some Hulk statues that go for a lot of money. Even this one is going for a lot of money in the aftermarket. I don't know if it's the best Hulk statue or not. I don't know if we're going to answer that in today's review, but we're going to see how good it is. So let's look at this guy. As usual, we will start with concept, which is really what makes this unique. So traditionally, when we have a Hulk statue, almost always he is standing on a rock. There are a few exceptions. For example, Hulk Transformation shows him kind of breaking out of the Gamma Lab. I also have this custom one where he's actually destroying a tank. But if you're a follower of the channel, you know that I have owned about 30 Hulk statues. In fact, check out this countdown right here. Now, like the transformation, which for the record, I think this concept was revealed before the transformation, you have a lab in here. But what they did is they went all out when it comes to Gamma. Part of this is kind of left open to your own interpretation. So the base here, as I said, it looks like a lab. We don't know if this is the original lab where he actually got the dose of Gamma and turned into the Hulk for the first time. We don't know if this is a lab he went back to as the Hulk to maybe get more Gamma or destroy more Gamma. I keep saying Gamma. Gamma is fantastic. But he has destroyed the shit out of this place. Huge hulking figure where he gets his name from, lunging forward. Back behind, you see a huge tank full of green liquid. Assumably, that's some type of Gamma. I don't even know what Gamma is, but I keep saying it. I always associate Gamma with Hulk. He has destroyed that. He's destroying the floor. He is pissed. He's enraged. In my head, kind of the description of this is he was already the Hulk. This isn't his initial transformation, but he's broke into this lab to become more powerful by getting more of that Gamma. And some of the display options we're going to look at later kind of point to maybe that was kind of the theory behind the concept. But he's lunging forward, which is nothing new for a Hulk statue. But what it really is it's this amazing back base, which we're going to take some close-ups of during paint and sculpt, that make this unique. So with that being said, I think the concept is awesome. It hasn't been done too often, and they really expanded it. I think the concept is a very strong 4 out of 5. One could argue a 5 out of 5. Design, it's not without its issues, but anytime you go extremely elaborate, you're gonna have some issues. Before we talk about those, here is the unboxing and assembly. 4 giant heavy boxes for this. Wow. First box had just the large main base. Second box was the Hulk. He's split into 2 sections. And I said main base because there's an alternate base we'll look at as well. And here is a bunch of the random pieces. Okay, let's measure him. So, as you can see, huge base. 28.5, 29 inches. I would say this is the biggest base I've ever had, but this giant Wampa statue, also a custom, probably competes with it. And it's about 28.5, 29 inches deep and 25 inches tall. Now, clearly, this base is a huge problem from a displayability standpoint. Now, I do have a special spot picked out for him, and I do plan to display this base. You can actually check out this recent room tour where I talked about it. And you might have just heard me say this base because it came with a base about half the size in case this base was so big. Now I keep saying base instead of gamma. So here is a picture of him on the other base. Now this other base does have a few other display options. And while I show these, I'm going to throw the dimensions of this base below. But this one right here, there is a fire hydrant because a statue is not perfect unless it has a fire hydrant. But if you want to, you can take the cap off and have the fire hydrant exploding. Now the painter, we'll talk more about it later, specifically chose green, again that gamma theme, and then there's a green rat on top of the water. If you hate fire hydrants, you can actually switch it out for a gamma bomb. That is pretty cool in my opinion. Now with this, everything you see, this is how it comes. However, there are some light up features. So the bottom of the base here actually lights up. Here's a picture of that. And then there's a light up feature that the painter built into the tube back here. And not only did he build in RGB, so you can do pretty much any color you want, blue, green, purple, but you can make it pulse, you can make it fade. I think that's pretty neat. And then he built in a remote as well. Because I had this professionally painted. It only came as an unpainted statue or a kit right here. Now the assembly was pretty difficult. As you saw, you kind of needed two people, but I was able to do it with one. I do find two big flaws with the design. First and foremost is the size of this base. This base is amazing and I hate to not display it, but it might just be too big. Sorry, shaking because I promise no more That's What She Said jokes. So I think that's a negative. The other base is cool, but like we talked about in concept, it's nothing new. The other design flaw, I think, is on the back here. While I think the translucent resin that represents liquid is cool, it defies the laws of physics in the back, which I don't like. Not a huge deal because it's in the back, but something to note. Another interesting fact, they also offered this in a green and red version with a different head sculpt. So I think overall the design is a 4 out of 5 on this. And keep in mind, my painter, which we're going to talk about later, actually did some of the soldering of the lights and stuff like that himself. Paint sculpt, before we dive in, this was professionally painted by S7 Customs, who I've actually had on the show before. You can actually check out an interview I did with him years ago. Now, he got into the game painting Hulk statues. That's all he did for the longest time, and he naturally progressed. He's a huge Alien and Predator fan now, but he's probably owned more Hulk statues than I have. So when this was coming, he wanted to paint it. So I sent it off to him. Of course, it's amazing. He's the best Hulk painter there is on the market. We'll talk more about that later, but let's do some close-up video of the paint and sculpt. We'll look at the base first, and there's so many intricacies, not only with the sculpt, but the paint as well. So it really looks like a laboratory base. You got the lights, platform, circuitry, wiring on the side, and look at all the different colors Jason had to do to really bring this out. I mean, it just looks great. He could have done like, you know, a standard gray across the bottom, but I love the addition of the gold, the black, the yellow warning type stripes on the side. The machine itself, kind of the same thoughts. Look at all the intricate circuitry. This tube right here looks like a real tube, and what I mean by that, it doesn't look like it's sculpted polystone or resin, but it is. That black finish on it is fantastic. Really absolutely incredible job. The detail doesn't stop either. That's kind of the crazy thing. We'll look at the tank in a second, but just more of that aspect on the back. The tank, so they did use a plastic here. It looks really good though. Probably the closest you're going to get to glass. Reminds me of XM Studios Weapon X, which I owned back in the day. Love where it's shattered at. Now the liquid here, I like how it's a different color of green. And the waterfall effect is just fantastic. Then the splash and the puddle. And Jason painted these a little bit different color, which makes sense because as water pools, it's a different color than as it's streaming like over a waterfall. Even the little waves in there look fantastic. Just amazing job on this base, both by Franco, who sculpted it, and then Jason painting it. The Hulk himself, I love the sculpt on this Hulk. Look at his chest. Has the typical veins we would see with the Hulk. What's great about this is, I think his anatomy, I don't want to say perfect, that's not the right word, but it's done really well for a Hulk. Hulk is often bulging with overemphasized muscles, but still has kind of that humanoid bodybuilder look. And they did a great job in the paint, the different colors of green that Jason mixed in here, not just the obvious ones on the veins, look so good. And Jason really wanted to portray that gamma, which we're going to look at his other base closer in a second here. And that's why he went with green on the water. But he even did that with the nails with a little bit of an enamel shine on them. They look great. But on the portrait, which we'll look at in a second, great job on the pants. The tears look fantastic. Let's throw it around to his back really quick. Such a good job. And there's the stretchy pants, you can tell. Bruce ain't no fool. But let's get to the portrait, which was my biggest question mark till I got it in. So Jason did add the drool effect, but I think it fits it really well. Really that over gamma rage. And those eyes are absolutely phenomenal. I really like what he did. Again, this insinuates the concept we were talking about where he broke into the lab to get more gamma to become more powerful. I love the colors in the mouth. I mean, look at that. That's just rage all the way, which is what we really think of with Hulk. Fantastic job on the hair as well. So such a good job. Really quick, let's take a look at the other base because that one's done really, really well as well. Now I keep saying well. So the sculpt is fantastic on the base. You have kind of an underlayer under street view. You see some pipes in there, some sewer pipes, a few other things, and then kind of broken up concrete from Hulk's weight. Maybe he's just walking, maybe he smashed it. But you can really see that Jason kept up with the gamma theme here. So the gamma ooze or remnants of gamma are just coming from everywhere. The sewer pipe down below, give it a little bit of a moist effect. Oozing up through the grounds, almost has like this neon look to it. And I like that it's such a good green contrast with the Hulk. Or maybe it's just, maybe it came from that bomb switch out that we had back here. That's where the gamma came from. Or maybe it's just oozing out of the ground like crazy. That's why you see the fire hydrant and the rat being so green. And again, there are different variations of green, which I think is pretty cool. So I do like this base a lot. While we talked about it being a boring, rock base, concrete base that he's sitting on, that gamma effect is pretty cool and really makes you feel like it's somewhere in the ground and it's just exploding not only into Hulk himself, but all over. Clearly, I'm giving the paint a 5 out of 5. Absolutely amazing. Jason at S7 Customs has done probably about 10 to 15 statues for me, and he knocks it out of the park every single time. This is no exception. Sculpt, I'm just amazed by the tank in the back. But let's not be foolish. The Hulk is amazing as well. I had some few questions when I saw some other painted versions of the portrait, but I really like this. I think it's absolutely amazing. It's also a 5 out of 5. Which is what you would expect with how much you pay for something like this. So I'm going to try and break this down for you, but this will explain why I don't know how much I paid. So first of all, the retail price of this, and they made 35 of them, was 3,000 euros. Now the difficult part of this, the euro kind of fluctuates in value. When I paid off most of it, the euro was about 1.28 to 1 to the US dollar. Today, it's like 1.1. So I've made different payments for a while to actually get them paid off. And unfortunately, I paid them off early when the value of the euro was much higher. That's number one. Shipping was like $1,000 to get him to the painter's house, a little bit under that. And then I paid like $400 to get him shipped to my house. And then, of course, the painting. Now, I didn't pay for this painting. I traded Jason a very, very expensive piece. I traded him a piece that was almost $3,000, and it wasn't just for this. It was some other work as well. But I can tell you, he put over 100 man-hours into this. So I think realistically, you are probably $5,000 to $7,000 all in for this as it stands. Now, is that worth it? I don't think it is. I don't think any quarter scale statue is worth that much. However, I have seen the unpainted kit of this sell for $5,000 to $10,000. Very low edition size, something that's never been done before. So legitimately, if I wanted to try and make my money back today, I would probably have to price him around $6,000 or $7,000. I don't think I could get that money for him. Maybe I could, but I'm going to give the value a 2 out of 5. But I have no intention in selling him, so that's not really a big issue for me. Now, does he have the X factor? Is he a 5 out of 5 statue? Is he amazing? Yeah, of course he is. This is a 5 out of 5 statue. I expected nothing less. I'm glad it delivered. Sometimes you have that in your mind and it doesn't. I'm just bummed how much money and time and effort it took to get him here. But Ultimate Hulk statue, is he the best? That's for you to answer. Throw down in the comments below. Is this the best Hulk statue? I'm undecided. So many great ones out there. The Sideshow OG, Mad X, XM Transformation. I'd say it's definitely with those 4 somewhere at the top. And I ask you to do that because we are super close to a big giveaway. We're giving away 2 statues when we hit 30,000 subs. We will be giving all of these statues away, plus additional ones at every 5,000 subscriber milestone. To win one of these statues, all you have to do is make sure you've liked this video, you've subscribed to the channel, you've hit that bell notification, and then just drop a comment below. Every 5,000 subscriber milestone, we are going to do a random drawing and pick a random comment and give one of these statues away, plus some additional ones I'm not showing right now. The more videos you comment on, the higher your chances are to win. Hey, thank you for tuning in. Please give Jason a like for his work and make sure to check out S7 Customs on Facebook. But in the meantime, if you like stuff like this, hit that subscribe button and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.